Hello everyone, welcome to my Hidden Dagger Tactic video. My name's ToBeFrank. My second tactic video on the channel now. First one was a rousing success. I must thank you all for checking that out. Of course, I'm going to upload the tactic on FM Scout. It'll be linked here. This will be the video which will accompany it as well. In essence, I just want to give you a bit of a background of where I developed this one, what I was thinking about, why I went for it. And obviously, you can see the year above me over there is 2026. So we're 4 seasons in, coming up to the 5th seasons where you would normally play. I didn't start this save as a Juventus, being Juventus, sorry. I was at Roma, sorry, 1 second. History, here we are, job history. So I was at Roma for a couple of years. I took over Juventus and I did manage to win them the league last year, but this year's where everything really clicked in and started working. I was more or less using the same tactic when, sorry, I've been at Juve 2 years, so you can see here, look, I left in Roma while they were first and when dropped down to Juve. Why I took this challenge on in this save is Juventus actually didn't win Serie A before I got there, so I was managing Roma between like these years. I didn't manage to get it. I was first when I left and Lazio won that year, so not my fault, I jumped ship. But I thought, oh, that's interesting. Let's take a Juventus team who haven't won the league, which is pretty weird when you're playing FM Save and you notice they're not really doing that well. And let's see if I can overcome it. Let's see if I can build a tactic to do it. So I decided to do so. The tactic I put together is the following, which you can see here. I'll leave myself on the bigger screen for a moment. All my players are on holiday, so just ignore that. But this is why I was playing the tactic I'm going to be uploading. I call it my Narrow Hidden Dagger. There's a couple of reasons for that. It's just a cool name for a start. Secondly, those shadow strikers are kind of, I suppose you could probably call it hidden daggers, but I didn't think it sounded as nice. But that's basically what it is. You've got that pressing forward, who's like a linchpin. And then those shadow strikers, they kind of get allowed to run and get away with things, which they normally probably shouldn't because the defence should be looking after them. But when you've got Dusan Vlahovic, who is pressing on the back four, and any pressing forwards you can find in your save, because I've used it with other teams and I found good success with this tactic, it's really lethal. It's really lethal. Over 100 goals this season. I'll show you here. Our goal difference was 73, which is insane. So we also had the best defence. So we're built from a defensive we're built from a defensive point, but we also can score. As you can see, we scored basically, well, that's 22 plus goals more than anyone in this division. So we have completely romped them. We won the league by a healthy margin. 15 points is pretty good in a 38-game league. And obviously, let's just go through a couple of the highlights. So I just want to show you roughly where it's working. But before we do so, if you have a little look here, I'll make myself a tiny bit smaller now. I've filtered by the actual number of goals we've scored per game. If you have a look, well, obviously the standout one will be the 9-0. I'll show you the highlights from that just so you get a rough gist of what the tactic is going to try and emulate for you. But you can see we've scored above 3. Well, that's well over 20 games, isn't it? It's a ridiculous amount. We've got a couple of 6s in there, loads of 5s. I mean, obviously one's a friendly, ignore that, but lots of 4s, 3s, 2s. I think, yeah, we failed to score on 3 occasions in actual, like, real competitive games. We've only failed to score 3 times, which is insane. One's a final, stopped me over the quadruple, but not everything's perfect. I just want to give you, but you can see, actually, goals conceded. Look, you can see we are rarely conceding a goal. Like, in some of the 3-0s, the 5-0s, the 9-0 even, we didn't even concede a goal there. Before I go into the Genoa highlight and I show you a bit more about this tactic, I just want to explain a couple of things about the tactic. It is a really minimalist tactic, and it's not one I'd recommend for a smaller team as well. I mean, that might sound obvious, but I'm never claiming to be a one tactic fits all person. Each of my individual tactics are for a certain purpose. Like my Copenhagen tactic is for an underdog. It's for a European force, which is also an underdog, like Bate Borisov, FC Copenhagen, Sheriff Tiraspol, someone like that. It makes sense. You're dominating domestically. You have some type of momentum that you can take into a European game. So that would be that's my Copenhagen one. Or the 4-3-2 one. I can't even remember what I called that one. Anyway, Hidden Dagger is a bit different. It's probably something I could easily play from the start, but I'd want to be someone I'll probably say top 10 upwards. I don't think a bottom of the league team could just be successful with it, but I generally haven't tested it. I've played this. I was Braga, did really well. But Juve is obviously where it's really come up, like just absolutely top trumps. But either way, fullbacks in all of my tactics are important, but I think that emulates real life football. In real life football, fullbacks are unbelievably important. They are probably the most important position in most people's tactics these days. Conte's wingbacks, Arteta's fullbacks are very, very up and down. Pep's fullbacks are basically the basis of his whole team. They're allowed to pick spaces in wide areas. It's just what modern football is at the moment, so I can't get away from it because that's how it works. However, what is a bit daunting about this tactic and what will take a long time to find is those free midfield roles. You've got the Carriello, I can't really say it, the roaming playmaker and the Mazzala. Mazzala's okay. People are getting more comfortable with that one. I don't think many people have used this role. The Carriello. I don't know how to say it. It's called a shuttler. In English, it's shuttler. Like someone who shuttles around, just like nicking a ball and passing it off. It's an easy way to describe it. It literally is shuttler in the description here. Look, see? Shuttler. Anyway, it's not something I've ever used before, but it really does work. Locatelli is a fantastic player for that. It might be someone you might want to have a little look at. Obviously, it's going to be really expensive to get early on, but it's just someone very good at the role. Roaming playmaker can pretty much be anyone. Pogba is probably the perfect player for it. I could sign him, and I'm not playing with an update, so I didn't have him with Juventus, but Samuele Ricci from Empoli. He's a lot cheaper when the game starts. I think he's maybe 19 when the game starts. I didn't sign him for very cheap though. I got him for 57 million, and that was his transfer listed fee. So if you can pick him up, obviously he starts on loan at Torino, but if you can pick him up when he goes back to Empoli, I'd highly recommend it. His stats are unbelievable. The main man, though, and the most important role of this tactic is the pressing forward. Dusan Vlahovic has not only become he's got 167 goals in 166 games, and obviously I've been with him for just over 3 years now. In the last 2 years, he scored more goals than games and also had a few assists. Last year would be the crowning achievement. He played 28 league games, scored 44 goals. That allowed him to get an 8.09 rating and also allowed him to pick up a Ballon d'Or, which is I've never seen Dusan Vlahovic get a Ballon d'Or in my save, ever. Even personal saves, I've never seen that. And it was fascinating. He absolutely romped it. On top of that, obviously, you can see if I just go back to this, I just want to round up our achievements. We did get knocked out of the Coppa Italia. Oh, no, we won the Coppa Italia. We lost the Coppa Italia Super Cup, sorry. But we won the league pretty comfortably. We also won the Champions League here. And a very, very important thing about this tactic, it does really work well against possession-hungry teams. We don't need the ball to score goals. I'll show you the goals in the Champions League final because you'll see Federico Chiesa in that shadow striker role. He's going to be picking up spaces which were basically left open by Dusan being an absolute menace on the touchline, but just in general. But yeah, you see Zaniolo plays the ball through. Chiesa just scores 1-0. That's 9 minutes in. It left us in a really good stead for the end of the game. And we managed to wrap up bring the trophy home just before half time. But the end of the play was unbelievable. And Chiesa scores a lovely goal. So that's our Champions League secured. We didn't need to shoot very often. But when we do shoot, we accumulate a very high expected goals. It's basically like, my only analogy would be, do you remember on FIFA, where you pass the ball around, you only really shoot when you think you're going to score? That's basically what I've tried to emulate, and more or less what they do, which is pretty fascinating because it was complete bum luck. I mean, I've tweaked this tactic a lot. But if you look at this again, the 9-0, we didn't even have the ball. 54% was to Genoa. We allow the opposition to have the ball, and then we are pouncing when they lose the ball. So this is like, I'm not going to say this is what I was emulating, but Klopp. So Klopp's Liverpool team. However, they have more possession than us. But when someone does lose the ball, they're on them. They are literally on them. Anyway, we'll run through the goals of the 9-0. I hope it's been an interesting video. You really must use a tactic. I'm not going to explain it in much further detail, but download it. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment and enjoy. I'll leave you the highlights for this. And please let me know how it went for you. I'd love to see some people winning some trophies using this tactic. Let me know in the comments. I will hide myself now. Enjoy.